right, hello, eighth grade. I hope everyone is doing well and that you are all having a fantastic day. My name is Carolyn Callahan and I'm a senior at Westchester University studying to be a health and physical education teacher. And today I was given the wonderful opportunity to teach you all a health lesson. So today our topic that we will be talking about is advocacy. So what will we be learning today? The National Health Education Performance Indicator that we will be focusing on today is 8.8.3, which states that you will be able to work cooperatively to advocate for healthy individuals, families, and schools. And then our lesson objective, or our goal for today, is for you, the students, to be able to work cooperatively and learn the skills in order to advocate for healthy school practices. So let's get started. So before we begin the lesson, I wanted to start out with a short video on healthy school practices. And this video will explain why it is so important for students to follow these healthy school practices, as well as why students need to be given access to more healthy school practices. So just think about that and keep that in mind while we watch the video.
We all know that eating healthy and exercising is important, but it's especially important for kids when it comes to their academic achievement. Why? Because research shows that students perform and behave better in school when they eat nutritious meals filled with fruits and vegetables, participate in PE class, spend time in recess, are given brief classroom activity breaks, and participate in extracurricular physical activities. Students can also perform better when school health services are in place to help them manage chronic conditions like asthma and diabetes. CDC Healthy Schools supports state-level programs that focus on increasing the health of youth so they can reach their full potential.
Historically, school nurses have been in charge of facilitating or conducting school health screenings, such as vision and hearing, blood pressure, and body mass index. Thanks to state funding, we were able to expand the capacity to do these screenings through coordinated school health staff and by developing community screening partnerships. All schools and districts use the Tennessee School Health Screening Guidelines and follow state laws for implementing the screening program, which includes screening all students in pre-K, kindergarten, 2nd, 4th, 6th, and 8th grades, and 1 year of high school. By expanding our screening capacity, we were able to screen more than 70,000 additional students. This has allowed us to more quickly identify students who are at risk for health-related problems that, if not detected and treated, can limit the ability of a child to learn. This initiative has allowed school staff to identify the health concern and take steps to facilitate access to health care in order to improve health and educational outcomes.
CDC Healthy Schools congratulates the Tennessee Department of Education for their efforts to improve the well-being of their students. To learn more about initiatives happening in your state, be sure to visit the CDC Healthy Schools website.
Okay, so as I hope you could see, it is clear how important it is that students receive the proper and complete health screenings through their school to ensure that each and every one of you can reach your full potential and so that staff can identify any health-related problems before they are left untreated. If schools don't have the funds to expand their student health screenings, it becomes an issue because less students get tested, which means more students suffer due to the limitations in their ability to learn. Now, I have a bonus point question for those students who are listening very well. In the video, Lori Paisley, the executive director who was speaking for most of the video, mentioned that this number of students were able to get tested due to the expansion of their health screening program. If you remember the number, congrats, and I'm very proud of you for listening so well. The number was 70,000 additional students. That is huge and a very important step forward to students, for students and healthy school practices. Okay, so now it's time for an activity. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with Nearpod, but I'm going to ask that you go to nearpod.com and type in this access code, and it should bring you to a page with a question. And I want you to answer that question with as many ideas as you can think of. This is the code right here on the screen for you. So my question for you is, what are some unhealthy habits or practices that you do? I posted 8 common unhealthy habits or practices that many people do, and I liked the ones that I have issues with. So when you come to nearpod.com, please feel free to share your own thoughts, or some other unhealthy habits or practices that you do that aren't already posted. And if you can relate to any of these that I have already posted, you can give it a like, and we can all see how many of us struggle with some of these unhealthy practices. So, the first one I have is inconsistent sleep, and I do have an issue with this one because I have some nights I'll sleep for like 10 hours, and then other nights I won't get any sleep at all, and it's very all over the place. So, inconsistent sleep is a very common unhealthy habit that many adults and younger people experience, and that's something I definitely want to work on because it's important to get at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. And it can be unhealthy when for your body if you are getting different amounts of sleep every night. So that is something that I struggle with, that I need to work on personally. The next one I have is postponing goals. That is an unhealthy habit that a lot of people do. um, I drink too much caffeine. I liked this one because I've been getting into coffee recently, and I do drink soda occasionally. So this is something I definitely need to decrease my caffeine intake. A lot of adults have caffeine addictions with coffee and even soda, and a lot of younger people are starting to drink coffee earlier on than they should be. So if you can relate to that, give it a like. The next one I have is I procrastinate. I really try not to, but sometimes I procrastinate with maybe an errand I need to do. Like right now, I really need to change the oil for my car and I keep pushing it off. So, procrastination is something a lot of people struggle with, and I definitely do. And I even sometimes procrastinate on doing my homework or studying. So, that is something I need to work on for sure. And then some other ones I have are binge watching TV. This is an issue for a lot of people. Luckily, not me, because I can't even sit through one episode of a show. So I don't have that problem, luckily, but many people do. Comparing yourself to others frequently also is an issue for a lot of younger people as well as adults, but more younger people. Luckily, I do not, but it's really important to know that you have a purpose, that you are your own person, that you are special just the way you are. You shouldn't feel the need to compare yourself to anybody else because you are perfect just the way you are. But it's okay also if you do, because it is a very common unhealthy habit that many people do. So the next one I have is sitting too much. This kind of goes hand in hand with binge watching TV, because if you're binge watching TV, you're sitting a lot. So, and when you sit a lot, you're being inactive, and it's an unhealthy habit that a decent amount of people unfortunately do. And then the last one I have is emotional shopping, which means that you like to buy things for yourself when you're feeling sad because you feel like buying yourself things will make you happier, which it usually does not. So if you can relate to any of these, please give them a like and feel free to add your own thoughts and comments as well. So the next question I have for you is, what are some healthy practices or habits that you do? Um, I posted some common ones right here on the screen, and I put a bullet point next to the ones that I do. So the first one I have is getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. This is very important. Like I said before, I unfortunately have a very inconsistent sleep schedule. So this is something I need to work on. And a lot of young people also are not getting as much sleep as they need. And sleep is so important for our health and for our brain. So hopefully you all can say that you do get 8 hours of sleep a night, at least, or 8 to 10 hours. The next one I have is eating a balanced diet with fruits and veggies. This is something I do. I do like to care about my body, and I like to ensure that I am getting the right amount of fruits and veggies every day. So I'm very on top of that, and hopefully you are too. The next one I have is drinking plenty of water. This is so important as well. Recently, I haven't been drinking as much water because at work, I can't drink water. So that's like 8 hours of every day that I am not drinking water. So that is something I definitely need to work on, but hopefully you are all drinking plenty of water. Also, eating breakfast every day is important and practicing good personal hygiene. Good personal hygiene is really important to me, and it should be to all of you as well. Just brushing your teeth 2 to 3 times a day, showering daily, wearing deodorant. It's all really important. And hopefully you all practice good personal hygiene. The next one I have is getting at least 1 hour of physical activity a day. This is so important coming from your health and PE teacher candidate, AKA me. I hope you're all exercising at least an hour every day. Something I like to do is I like to run on the treadmill. I have a treadmill in my basement. So every day, or at least almost every day, I like to run for an hour or 30 minutes just to get my physical activity done for the day. And it's a nice stress reliever. So hopefully you're all getting physical activity. And physical activity can range from many different things: walking your dog, taking a stroll through the park, um, doing an at home workout. These are all great ways to stay fit and physically active. So hopefully you all found what you enjoy doing and you do it for at least an hour every day. The next one I have is turning your homework in on time and studying for your tests. This is something I make sure I do. I mentioned earlier that I do procrastinate sometimes, but I always make sure that my homework is turned in on time and that I study for my tests. And I know you all probably maybe possibly lack in this area, but it's really important as a student to stay on top of your work and to make sure you study. So hopefully you all do that. Um, Limiting screen time is important, asking for help when you need it. Both very healthy and important practices that I hope you do. The next one I have is you are comfortable in your own skin. Um, I really hope you are. I am for sure, because each and every one of you are perfect just the way you are. And hopefully you are not comparing yourself to others and that you are staying true to who you are and who you are as a person. So I really hope you all can say you're comfortable in your own skin. And then the next two I have are have regular checkups with your doctor and getting outside regularly. So these are all some really important healthy practices that hopefully you all do. So let's go back to our PowerPoint. Okay, so next we are going to talk about the key vocabulary for this lesson. So the first and most important vocabulary term that we have here is advocacy, and that is support for a particular cause to promote change. So how many of you have heard of this term before? I'm sure many of you have, because advocacy is extremely important. Advocacy ensures that all people are able to express issues that are important to them, as well as it protects and promotes people's rights. So it is always important to advocate for yourself and for what you believe in. Our next key vocabulary term is public service announcement, also known as PSA. And this is a message to the public for the purpose of raising awareness or changing attitudes and behaviors. The difference between PSA and advocacy is that advocacy is supporting a change, while PSA is raising awareness for that change. Both are very important and they practically go hand in hand with each other. And then our last key vocabulary term for this lesson is target audience, um, which is very relevant and important for our lesson today, which you will see why in a little bit. But target audience is who your message is for. And it is crucial to have an understanding of who your target audience is before you relay your message. So I have some advocacy skill cues here for you that you can follow for the activity that we will be doing in just a moment. So our first advocacy skill cue is identifying a relevant and meaningful health issue. This is just the part where you're choosing what you want to advocate for. And it's important to make sure that it's meaningful to you and it's meaningful to your target audience as well. The next step we have is researching your health issue. This is probably not the first most important step, but definitely up there. Your research is crucial for your health issue or your whatever you're advocating for. It's important that you are using credible resources and you are using reliable facts and evidence to back up your point of what you're advocating for. Our next step is deciding who your target audience is. And this is also another very important step because you want to decide your target audience before you create your position about the issue that you are supporting. And depending on who your target audience is, you want to create your position to relate best to your audience. And you want to figure out the best way to see how your target audience is going to learn best and from your presentation. And it's just important that you figure out who you're presenting to so you can accommodate for your group, depending on who that is. So our next advocacy skill cue is creating your health enhancing position about the issue that is supported and backed up by facts and evidence. So this is just the step where you are creating what you're going to say, how you are going to present it, and making sure that you back up what you're advocating for with facts and evidence. So our fifth advocacy skill cue is relaying your health enhancing message. This is just the step where you tell your audience about what you're advocating for and why it's relevant and meaningful to you and them. And then our sixth advocacy skill cue is acting passionately and with conviction. This is extremely crucial to show that you are passionate because it shows your audience that you care and that you are passionate about what you are speaking about. And it just shows your audience that you really know what you're talking about, and it makes them more likely to believe you and stand with you on what you are advocating for. And then our last advocacy skill cue is evaluating the effectiveness of the advocacy effort. So after you present your message to your audience, you just want to go over and evaluate how you did, what was effective and what was not. And then if you end up speaking to another target audience or another crowd, you can change what was not effective and then keep what was effective. So we are going to do a Kahoot now. You can go on over to www.kahoot.it, or if you have the app, you can open that up. Since we are not live, I have this set for student pace, so you can go into the Kahoot and do this on your own time, but I'm just going to go over the questions and answers with you so you can follow along with me now. So this is about our key vocabulary and advocacy skill cues. So what is advocacy? Who your message is for, a message to the public that raises awareness or changes behaviors, or support for a particular cause to promote change. I mentioned that advocacy was support for the cause, while PSA raises awareness, so I'm going to click this, and that is correct. It is support for a particular cause to promote change. Very good job, everybody, if you got that right. Here's our next question. What is a target audience? So who your message is for, a group that is placed together, or a message to the public that raises awareness or changes behaviors. We had mentioned that PSA is when you raise awareness for a message to the public, and then I specifically said that target audience is who your message is for. So that is the correct answer. We are going to continue to move on. So what is a public service announcement or PSA? I had just mentioned that it was a message to the public that raises awareness or changes behaviors, because we know that advocacy is support for a particular cause to promote change, and it is definitely not when a person tells their group of friends what they had for lunch today. So I'm going to click this, and that is correct. A message to the public that raises awareness or changes behaviors is what PSA is. Very good job if you have been getting all of these right. So now we have a true or false. Is this the correct order for the advocacy skill cues? Let's take a look at the picture. So identifying, creating, relaying, and deciding who your target audience is. Now, just by looking at this, I already know that this is false, because we should be deciding who our target audience is way in advance. That should be our second or third point. So we know that is false. Good job if you got that right. And we are going to move on to our last question. Another true or false. Is this the correct order for the advocacy skill cues? Let's take a look. Identify a relevant and meaningful health issue, deciding who your target audience is, creating a health enhancing position that is supported by facts and evidence, and relaying your health enhancing message to your audience. That sounds pretty good to me. I'm going to say true, and that is correct. All right. Very good job, everybody, if you got those right. Thank you for listening so well. We are going to move on. So now it is time for our activity for the day, our advocacy activity. This is what you are going to do. So you're going to select a healthy practice that should occur more in schools. Some examples of this are hand washing, filtered water stations. You can also look up and research healthy practices that should occur more in schools. There are lots of them available online. So if you are struggling with something to pick, you can always research ideas. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to collect evidence about your position. You're going to find out why should your practice occur more. So this is where you collect your facts and evidence to back up your point of why your healthy practice should occur more. And make sure that you are using credible resources and reliable resources to help back up. It is very important to make sure that you are using correct and accurate evidence. Next, you're going to decide a target audience. Some examples of target audiences are the school committee or maybe the superintendent of your school. All of these are good choices, maybe even students at your school, a group of students. So you can pick any of those or something different for your target audience. And then you can relay your message by creating a poster, brochure, letter, or flyer. So this is what your activity will be. And I'm going to show you an example in a second of one that I did. And then I just wanted to mention that lots of color, drawings, and creativity are highly recommended. So hopefully you create something very colorful and creative. Use those big, bright minds to make something great. So this is my brochure that I created. I made this on Microsoft Word and then transferred it to Google Docs, but you can use either Google Docs or Microsoft Word to create your poster or brochure or flyer. There are a lot of templates available on both of these platforms that you can use. I use a free template from Microsoft Word to create this. So I did mine on filtered water stations. Many schools actually do have filtered water stations already installed, but you'd be surprised at how many don't. And I have some pictures here to show what a filtered water station looks like. So then I posed this question of why should there be more filtered water stations in schools? And then I answered it below saying, filtered water stations are extremely beneficial in schools because they provide and ensure safe drinking water due to its high performance filters that remove common contaminants such as chlorine and lead. So this pretty much was straight to the point, which is what you want. And I even underlined why there should be more filtered water stations in schools, because they provide and ensure safe drinking water. Clear and to the point, which is good. And then I added this little water recycling image. And then this is where I stated who my target audience is, the school committee. That is who I chose as my target audience. And then I stated, this is why I believe we should have access to filtered water stations in school. You can notice that I am very clear and to the point, which is what yours should look like as well and what you should be doing. So here I stated my facts and evidence to back up my point. In the green, I stated why I believe we should have access, and then I stated a fact to back up that point. So my first reasoning is it is a solution for lead contamination. And then my fact is that filtered water stations remove on average 99.3% of lead from drinking water. Simple to the point, and that is a fact that can be proven and shown through my resources that I posted at the bottom. It also is better tasting water. Filtered water stations are capable of removing the usual culprits of unpleasant tasting water due to its high performance filters and cooling system. The next one I have is it provides a healthier hydration. which is really important because it's safe, clean, and accessible water that gives students greater incentive to hydrate more often, which contributes to greater energy and productivity, which is really huge and why every school should have more than one filtered water station. The next reason I have, it reduces waste. Filtered water stations can serve as an alternative to plastic water bottles, which can help reduce the amount of plastic water bottles that end up in the trash, which is 80%. That is huge. It is a huge, it influences waste and reduces it very much so because it encourages students to use reusable water bottles, which means that less people will be using plastic water bottles, which reduces the waste. And then the last reason I have it is sustainable. They filtered water stations provide clean, green, filtered refrigerated water. Simple and to the point. And then just to wrap up my brochure, I said, thank you for listening to my PSA. I hope that my advocacy towards filtered water stations has been considered today. And this is just something nice to add because it thanks your audience for listening and considering what you have said today. And hopefully they take that, what you said, into consideration and join you and your advocating process. And then I just put the resource of where I found all of my information. That is really important to add as well onto your brochure or your poster or your flyer, whatever you decide to do. So this is just what it looks like and what you should have something similar to this. I posted the link on the PowerPoint so you can go back and look at my example if you need some additional help on yours. You can see that mine is colorful and it's creative because it adds pictures and it's straight to the point, which is what you want. And like I said, it has color in it, so it keeps the viewer entertained with that in that sense. So that is just what, so you can go off of that, and that is what yours should look like, something similar to that. So this should take you approximately 20 minutes to complete. You can go ahead and get started right after I explain this. So I just wanted to go over again with you these questions. So what was my healthy practice? As you can see, I did my healthy practice on filtered water stations. Who was my target audience? I stated that it was the school committee, and I had that in large letters for everyone to see. What was my reasoning behind my position? I stated that on the very first page is that they provide and ensure safe drinking water, and I underlined it so it was very easy to find. And then my last question is, what were some of my facts and evidence to back up my position? I had all of my facts and evidence on the second and third page, as you can see. So these are just some questions to consider when you are creating your project and your brochure or flyer or whatever you decide to do. So just consider those questions when you are working on your activity. So now that you know what to do, you can go ahead and get started. It should take you 20 minutes, like I said. And then whenever you are finished, you can come back. You can pause this lesson and then come back because I'm going to just close this out for today. And there will also be a Dropbox available for you to put your project in. So make sure you do that as well when you are finished. So now that you are done your activity, I just wanted to close this off for today. So what did we learn today? Today we learned that advocacy is important, and it is important, and hopefully all of you know and understand that, and that it is also important that you stand up for what you believe in, and that you fight for your rights, or even if it's not a healthy school practice, which is what we were focusing on today, but you can advocate for many things that aren't even related to school. So it's just important that you understand that advocacy is important. And then I have, why is it important that we learned what we did? It's important that we learned what we did so each and every one of us can advocate for our beliefs and what we think is right, which is very true. Everybody has a voice. Our voices are very important, and it's important that we are heard and that we show the world what our passion is and what we believe it should be right. And then the last point I have is, how can we apply what we learned today to everyday life? like I just said, using your voice is so important. Our voices are very powerful, and we really can get somewhere if we use them properly. It's also important to find your passion, um, find out what you're interested in, find out, research things that you enjoy, and finding your passion is just one of the first steps of advocating. And then the next couple bullet points I have is staying informed. Make sure that you are following credible and reliable resources about what you are passionate about, and then get involved and meet with others. Meet with people who share similar passions and share similar beliefs as you. Um, the more we get together with people, the more powerful we are. You know, a team is always better than one person. So getting involved in meeting with others who are passionate about the same things you are is really important. And then last but not least, I have an exit ticket for you all to fill out. You can go to this link for your exit ticket. It's polev.com/Carolyn Callahan 479. I'm going to show you what it looks like. It should look like this. It's 5 questions about the lesson. Simple questions like, did you enjoy the activity? I hope you all did, but let me know with what you thought about it. So I'm going to say yes, because I did enjoy the activity. The next question I have is that now that you are familiar with advocacy and its vocabulary, do you see yourself advocating for healthy practices or something else you believe in the future? Hopefully you all say yes. But if you think otherwise, you can let me know. The next question I have is, do you believe advocacy is important? And hopefully you all say absolutely. But if not, let me know. The next question I have is, were the technology platforms used easy to navigate? This is really important because this kind of shows me that the platforms that I'm using are working. And if they're not, I need to know. So I can ensure that everybody is learning and that you are all reaching your full potential. So if something did not work today for you, please let me know. If it did, please let me know as well, because that is very important. And then the last question I have is, would you like to do more activities like this in the future? This is another really beneficial question for me, because it shows me if you like what we're doing, if you are having fun while we learn. So if you liked the activities we did today, please say yes. And if you didn't, be honest and let me know, and I will try my best to accommodate for you and how you learn best. So after that, you can just click finish and you're all done. So that is it. Thank you for your participation, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.